Well, welcome to all of our listeners and viewers. Welcome to the Over It podcast. I'm Dr. Donna Gilman, and I have with me my right-hand lady, Jennifer. Welcome, Jen.
Hi.
And we're going to be talking today, Jen, about a really hot button topic, which is infidelity. And, we see a lot of couples coming through the center who are dealing with infidelity. And we actually polled some of our listeners to get some of their biggest questions about infidelity. So we're going to be diving into those today. But I did want to start us off by talking a little bit about how prevalent is infidelity. And in particular, I'm going to be talking about infidelity in marriage with these statistics. However, what we will be talking today about infidelity as it applies to all relationships, not just marriage. But most of our research data that I'll be talking about is in regards to marriage. And what we do know is that infidelity affects 20 to 25% of all marriages. And in fact, um, in polls, about 20% of men indicate that they have been unfaithful in their marriage, and about 13% of women. One of the biggest questions we have is infidelity survivable within marriage? And what the research indicates is absolutely it is. In fact, 60 to 80% of couples report staying together after infidelity. Now, what that looks like can obviously vary depending on what the level of repair has been, whether couples have engaged in some kind of treatment following the disclosure of an infidelity. But absolutely, infidelity is survivable. And I would go so far as to say that for the couples who really lean into each other and do the work, some couples can come out even stronger as a result of infidelity. So, Jen, what do we have today for questions from our listeners and viewers?
Sure. Well, this was a topic that we had just such a plethora of questions. And I think with the statistics that you just covered, I can definitely see why those of you who have suffered through this have not suffered through this alone. And that's really great to know. One of our listeners asks a really important question, and it may seem simple, but it's definitely a layer cake. And it is, what does it take to get past infidelity?
Right. So it's an excellent question. What does it take to get past infidelity? What I can tell you is that we often see people go through varying phases or stages. When they're coming in for treatment, often couples are coming in around a recent reveal or discovery around an infidelity. And so, understandably, the person that has been cheated on is experiencing waves of grief and anger and heartache. There's a lot of questions and a lot of confusion and a lot of wondering about, well, how much of what I've been experiencing in my relationship has been real and how much has been an illusion, and how do I know? Have we been living a lie? Has it all been a lie? And so in the early stage of therapy, we make a lot of space for questions. And those are questions on the part of the person who is cheated on. Usually, those questions start out being around facts and logistics. When did it happen? How did it happen? How often did it happen? Where did it happen? But one of the pieces that's really important in couples work is to, at some point, start to move away from those kind of investigative questions and start to get a little bit deeper into understanding, particularly for the person who cheated. Why? What did this represent? What were their hopes around this? Did they think it was going to lead to a new relationship? Where was the motivation for this cheating coming from? And so we're moving away from sort of investigative questions to much deeper questions so that each partner gets some deeper insight into why the infidelity occurred. And this is really so that we make sure that through the insight, there is not any repeat cheating that's going to happen. It's through the insight of Why did someone cheat? And not as a justification for the behavior, but as that deeper insight comes through, it can point to some areas of pain and woundedness within each people or each person's that we really need to explore on a deeper level. So, what does it take to get through infidelity is a lot of willingness to hold space for the partner that was cheated on and really have patience with that process. One of the things that doesn't work so well in treatment is when the person who's been doing the cheating gets impatient with their partner's process. Like, how many times do we have to go over this? When are you ever
Mm.
going to forgive me? Are you ever going to forgive me? And so, a lot of times in treatment, we're slowing down both people and allowing for the unfolding of a healing process, which will usually take multiple repair attempts and deeper levels of insight in order to move forward. And that's going to take as long as it takes. There's no rushing recovery from infidelity. So, I mean, that's just a little bit of a snapshot of what it takes to make it through.
Well, yeah, and it's obviously not an overnight process. The infidelity didn't happen overnight, so this isn't going to be an overnight process in the healing either.
That's correct.
Um,
If you're enjoying Over It, make sure you follow us on Spotify, Amazon Music, or Apple Music.
with that said, another listener asked, "What does treatment for infidelity look like?"
Right. Well, we do have protocols that we can use, and we have all kinds of templates for questions that can help bring both partners into a deeper understanding of what happened and why. And that being said, treatment is also very much customized to each couple and their unique circumstances.
Great. So it's not a one size fits all when it comes to therapy after infidelity. It's really molded to you and your partner.
Certainly. And what that particular couple's goals are, and it's okay if the couple comes in with mixed goals, not maybe being certain one or the other person that on the other side of this, they're going to be able to stay together. Sometimes the person who's done the cheating can come in very sure that they're willing to do anything it takes to salvage the relationship. But the person who's been cheated on is coming from a place of deep betrayal and sometimes ambiguity and uncertainty about really whether they will be able to stay in this relationship or they wish to stay in this relationship. So, again, meeting each couple where they're at and using research based methods to help them get a deeper understanding and possibly repair around the infidelity is the goal.
Excellent. Um, this is a tricky one, and again, might not be a one size fits all answer for this. But what does sex and intimacy look like after infidelity?
Yeah, again, very unique to each couple. Sometimes we see couples where physical intimacy is very much off the table uh, for one or both partners. It may have been off the table for some time, or it may be off the table since the disclosure of the infidelity. And again, that might stay off the table for certain couples for a long time. Other couples come in, and despite the reveal of an infidelity, they are still making a choice to be physically intimate. And so it is really different and unique to each couple. Our work is really to understand, particularly for the person who has felt betrayed, what their limits and boundaries and needs are around physical intimacy and really pacing repair around that.
Would you say that the couple center of the Pioneer Valley that you work with specializes in intimacy and infidelity repair?
I think any good couples treatment center, along with, focusing on fidelity and connection, is certainly also dealing with infidelity and repair and repairing attachment ruptures and repairing commitment ruptures. That's very much part of couples work.
Wonderful. I have a listener who chimed in with a very personal question. My partner cheated with someone who is a friend of ours. How do I trust him with anyone else? And is my friendship even worth salvaging at this point?
Mhm. Well, those deeper questions around whether trust can be repaired, I mean, that's part of the arc of the work. So that generalized sense of there's been betrayal and maybe there's going to be betrayal around every corner is really something that we tackle in treatment. The question around whether or not I can maintain a friendship or choose to maintain a friendship with the person that cheated with my partner, or whether I want to allow my partner to maintain a friendship with this person. Obviously, again, very unique to each couple. And we have some partners who want very specific boundaries around any further contact between their partner and the person they cheated with, which could be anything from, for a certain period of time, we'd like access to your phone. I definitely want you to block this person. I don't want you to have anything to do with this person ever again. To the complications of if this was a close friend, how are each partner going to deal with that? What are their wishes and needs around that?
Yeah, that's incredibly wonderful. And as far as the old adage is concerned, I'm sure you heard it, I heard it growing up. Once a cheater, always a cheater. From your experience and in your work, is that actually true, or is that just a stigma that we're living with?
That's a great question. I think that it is insight that wins the day, and then the willingness to make behavior change. For most people, there is the need to create new emotional muscle in their ability to be transparent and comprehensive in talking about what they feel and what they need with their partner. That's not something we get, and typically from our families of origin, nobody teaches us how to do that. I'm in no way justifying infidelity, but I will say that infidelity to me is often an offshoot of an inability to do a really deep dive into understanding our motivations, understanding the complexity of our feelings, leaning in and getting some guidance about how to navigate the differences in what we might need and what our partner needs or wants, and also what to do with something that's very real in adulthood, which is limerence or the very strong attraction that can occur between adults. There's also things like impulse control and so much else that goes into understanding why people stray and what their motivation is to stop that behavior and to gain deeper insight. And again, the arc of learning how to be a faithful partner, how to be a partner who learns how to speak more truthfully about what's hard, about all of the grays, and is not just in the black and white of what they think and want. And also can hold space for their partner to come forward with what they want and need and somehow figure out a way forward where each person can thrive in the relationship. That's some deep work. So no, I don't necessarily believe once a cheater, always a cheater. It depends on the willingness of that person to really do a deep dive and understanding themselves better and also their partner and taking ownership for the damage done without getting defensive.
Over It is proudly sponsored by the Couples Center of the Pioneer Valley, offering specialized services to couples and individuals with relationship issues and concerns. Check them out on the web at pioneervalleycouplestherapy.com or call them at 413 570 0067.
Awesome. Think you got one more left in you?
I do.
Okay, wonderful. So we have a listener writing in who says, I am certain that the infidelity has caused a rupture in my marriage that is not something that I want to work on. My spouse, however, still wants to work on our marriage. Is there a sort of therapy that can help us through this that isn't standard couples therapy?
Mm.
Because I don't want to retrieve what is already broken.
Yeah, so I want to talk about two potential options. One is if somebody is not sure that they have it in them to work on the relationship at this time, there is a protocol called discernment counseling. And that is a decision-making process. Both people have to be willing to be part of that process. But instead of jumping into couples therapy, where we assume we're both here because we know we want to work on this, discernment counseling is really a protocol where each person gets one-on-one time with the therapist to feel into the parts of them that feel they can stay and work on things, maybe the parts of them that aren't sure, or the parts that really are leaning out of the relationship. And usually they have up to 5 sessions to make a decision about whether to stay and work on things for a specified period of time and then reevaluate, or they're ready to separate or divorce or leave the relationship. The other option would be to explore the complexity of what you feel in marriage counseling or relationship counseling without any commitment to the idea of staying together. That is to say, relationship counseling can also be for people who are not clear ultimately or are not on the same page with exactly where they see this going. Overall, I think when there's been infidelity, it is a great time to reach out for some professional assistance, particularly if there's children involved or you've been in a long-term relationship and you're not sure whether it's in your higher good to stay or to go. So just want to say thank you to the readers for putting themselves out there so vulnerably in these questions. And certainly, whether it's at our center, the Couple Center, the Pioneer Valley, or another treatment center that specializes in seeing couples where infidelity has occurred, would certainly urge our viewers and listeners to reach out for support and guidance around any of these complicated situations.
Wonderful. Well, you really knocked it out of the park today, Dr. Donna Gilman. I think we've got a lot of really wonderful answers for our listeners. And please keep submitting your questions. Please continue liking and following our podcast. Please continue contributing in the ways that you have. As our listeners, we value you so very deeply.
Thanks, everybody, and see you next time on Over It. Bye, Jen.
Bye.
Control yourself. Don't drink too much. Don't talk too much. Don't look that way. Don't stare that boy. Don't giggle. Don't wiggle. That's too short. Shackle me, no, no, no. Wait, there's orders, no, no, no. No, I won't give up, no, no, no. No, we won't give up, no, no, no. I don't want to hear this words. How can a man speak this way? How can a girl always seem the dance, he's on last, can't understand, he won't give up, he looked that way, he stared at me, don't giggle.